Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back for Special Forces World's Toughest Test, episode number 8. And we are ready for another tough test talking about Special Forces. So, of course, back with me, the woman who will never VW, we hope. It's Jenny Autumn. Jenny, how are you?
Yeah, Rob, I'm great. I will not VW or retire, as Mike Piazza would put it when
Mm-hmm.
when trying to VW.
I'd like to
I'm here
retire.
at this point. It's like the end is in sight. Maybe not as close as I would hope it to be,
Mm-hmm.
but like Mike Piazza, I am a team player, and I can't leave you behind. So
Yes, I appreciate that. Would
yeah.
love to know from our podcast listeners, who I know would never quit listening to the podcast, but how many people are still watching the show?
A raise of
Anybody?
hands, please.
Anybody? If you're
I
still
think there
watching
are.
Special Forces, I don't want to get inundated by all the people who are not watching Special Forces, but hey, I'm still watching Special Forces. I know what you're talking about. I'm not just here for the podcast. Please let
There
us
are at
know.
least, I think, maybe 5.
Yes. Are there more
Just based
people or more people in the show or
ooh,
watching the show?
now I think after tonight's or last night's episode, that we probably have more people watching than left in the show, but
It's
they could
close.
have dropped off after this episode as well, so it might be even. I don't know.
Jenny, that we have the 4 people, and we still have what, at least 2 hours of the show left.
Wild. I
Yeah.
really thought, based on how many people are left and what more can they do to torture and traumatize, um that we could only possibly have one more episode. I saw the preview for next week, and I'm like, this looks like finale stuff to me.
Hmm.
And no mention of finale, and based on the dates that we've been looking at, we are expecting that this goes to March 1st. So
Yeah.
what happens if 2 people leave next week? We're
What
down
happens
to
if they
2
all leave? I
people?
don't know if we'll just have flashbacks or what. But
A
the thing is,
reunion?
when you cast a reality TV show, the idea is you want sort of like colorful characters and big personalities. And sad to say, on Special Forces: World's Toughest Test, we're not really left with the most energetic, charismatic crew of people that have ever been assembled.
Wow, how dare you. I will
Hmm.
say at this point
They're fine. They're nice people.
we've got 4 celebrities left, and we have 4 special forces agents, the DS, left.
Yeah,
And I will say
it's one on one
the
now.
the special forces guys are giving me more.
Yes,
Like
yes,
they have become essentially the stars of this television show, because they, you know, th- they're bringing it. Like
they bring it.
they
They bring a
deliver.
lot of energy, and
And these people are running out, like these celebrities that maybe had, some vim and vigor and energy at the beginning of this whole journey are like quite literally depleted. Like, we hear numerous times in
right.
this episode that they are running on reserve. And I think that will also translate to the entertainment value of the show, which, again, this is supposed to be for entertainment,
Right.
question mark.
I
So I think
yes.
that that's impacting things as well.
And in fairness to the 4 people remaining in this competition, they are running on fumes.
Mhm.
And so, totally understand why maybe they might not be bouncing off the walls. But,
Yeah.
Jenny, I guess let me talk about something that I have never seen before in my years of watching reality TV. This was, a very terrifying moments with Gus Kenworthy, who we know just from following his appearance at the Grammys and whatnot, and that
He
he's
is alive.
fine, he's
He's
alive.
okay.
But I have never seen anybody experience what he did at the end of this episode. And I also have never seen anybody projectile vomit on my television before.
Really? On
I'm trying to
TV, I
think.
guess?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I've seen it. I was certainly not prepared for
Where did
it.
you see it? Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of, like, I watched a lot of
Real life?
Jackass, like,
Yes. Okay. I
as
had to look
a
away.
teen. But I guess it's not really something that you're seeing on, like, primetime television very often,
Not often.
is the projectile liquid vomit that I I watched the episode this morning,
Yeah.
and I needed a trigger warning. I'm one of those people that does not do well by, like, the sound of somebody gagging is enough to get me going. And not only that, the literal
Yeah. Let me
seeing.
play the clip. No,
Ugh,
I'm just kidding.
okay, thanks, great, let's do it.
It was rough. It was rough. Now, do
Yeah.
you think that Remy felt bad after? Is this Remy's fault? Did Remy do this?
Well, I I still and this is one of my many issues with this show, is that, like, we didn't really get an explanation of what actually happened to Gus. Like, it was explained that he, like, went into, like, anaphylactic shock. Um there was a mention that he is
That is a
allergic to
fun word to
bees.
say,
It is.
anaphylaxis.
It is. Yeah, there's lots of fun syllables in that one.
I mean, it's
Probably
not a
not fun to
fun thing.
experience. Yeah.
Not a fun thing. But anaphylaxis, I mean, that
Yeah.
sounds like, I mean, that's a
I
pretty
feel like
cool
that's
word.
like, like a new age baby name or something. Like, I feel like someone in
That's a
Utah is,
beautiful
like,
name for a baby.
naming their child
Anaphylaxis.
anaphylaxis.
Is his first
Um
name middle name Phylaxis?
no, or you could, like, hyphen it, like
Mm.
A and then, like, hyphen, like, phylaxis.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. But so, like, he gets what I believe was, like, some sort of EpiPen kind of situation, or they said, like, we're gonna give you adrenaline. Is that what
Yeah,
EpiPen is? But
I think so.
so I thought that he was just choking on, like, dust
The
and
sand.
sand, because for those of the besides the 5 people that did watch the television show, for those that did not watch it, when he pays the man, as Remy likes to make people do,
Gotta
he
pay the
has to
man.
do what Hannah did last week similarly, and get yourself completely wet and roll your ass in the sand. And we're not mailing it in. They Remy tells him, use your hands to put the sand on your face and your hair. Like, I guess him rolling was not getting an acceptable amount of sand on his face.
Mm-hmm.
And he finished, and then he had to do, like, a million burpees. After he finished is
Count him
when he
out.
started like, coughing and choking. So my first thought was he inhaled dusty sand, because it's all over his face and he had to basically put his face in it. So he's just choking on sand. But then it got really serious, and they didn't really explain what the allergic reaction was to. And then they take him off to the, like, there's an ambulance run after they give him the EpiPen, because there's apparently, like, the risk of what was it, like, reverse anaphylaxis, or, like, rebound anaphylaxis.
You say
Um,
so.
I think that's what they said, is, like, he expelled everything, and then he still did not feel well, so they're like, let's take him to the hospital because he could have rebound anaphylaxis. But then, like, no update. Like,
No
I
card,
know,
nothing.
I know he's okay. I saw him in those overalls, baby.
Yeah.
But, like, they didn't even tell us, like, what actually happened to him and if he's okay. And I take issue with that. I can't believe they
Yeah.
yada this man. Like,
They yada yada.
what do you
Yeah.
think happened? Do you think that he got stung by a bee?
That is possible. Are there a lot of bees out there? I mean,
I didn't see a single
I
one,
didn't see
but
any bees. He didn't react to being stung by a bee. But they left in the question about, are you allergic to bee stings?
yeah, the
Um,
doctor said you're allergic to bee sting, so they probably knew that on his medical chart or whatever.
yes.
But he didn't say, "Yeah, I got stung by a bee."
Mm-hmm.
He didn't seem to know what was happening.
Yeah.
So I would
Um,
have liked an explanation of what actually happened. He got
okay.
medically evacuated.
Okay. How about could it have been the lunch?
Mm.
It looked pretty rough.
I would think that if the lunch was going to impact you, it would happen immediately on contact. That lunch
Mm-hmm.
looked disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
looked like a really old expired bean salad with, like, maybe, like, cut up hot dog in it. It was
Mm-hmm.
vile looking. Maybe a
Yeah.
Vienna sausage.
Oh, yikes. So I'm seeing a interview with Gus Kenworthy. He
Okay.
says that he wanted to go back up a couple minutes after they administered the ep- epinephrine. Epinephrine? Epinephrine?
Epinedrine. That's like
Yeah.
an anti. That sounds like a
I think it's
allergy med,
epinephrine.
right?
Yeah. He says I
I've had
felt
pseudoephedrine, right?
completely fine and felt normal, stone cold sober, breathing fine. I was like, oh, you want to go back in? And they were like, you can't go back in. There's a risk of a repeat anaphylaxis, and we can't do it.
That's
And so
upset.
the whole
That
situation
doesn't
was very
shock me
brief. Yeah.
because I mean he was doing very well. Like this was an episode where up until this point he was kind of killing it, and you know, I think that he easily, if there was no risk of the rebound anaphylaxis, that he probably would have gone back in. But
Mm-hmm.
like they weren't going to let Dr. Drew back in once he got himself properly hydrated. But I guess if
Mm-hmm.
it was only like a few minutes after they take him out, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, no
He
turning
says
back, I
it
guess.
was a weird thing. It started off as just a cough. I felt like I had something caught in my throat. I was coughing and coughing, couldn't get it up. And I actually, I think that it was actually my throat closing. I didn't realize. It was just this really constricted feeling where my throat was basically closed up. It felt like something was there. It was getting harder to breathe.
Is this
But
what
no,
happened to Eric Stein with his
mhm.
esophagus?
No, but Eric Stein swallowed a chicken bone.
Right. And then the chicken bone was just, well, maybe, okay, here's my question.
Yeah.
Did Gus Kenworthy swallow a bee?
Did he swallow a bee? Oh my
So
God.
was there
It's
was there a
terrifying.
dead bee or a half dead bee in the bean salad gruel food that they ate?
Oh, okay. So maybe there was a bee flew into the food. He was so
And he
tired, he didn't realize it.
didn't
He
notice.
ate
It
it.
looks like it. Honestly, that whole trough could have been filled with bees,
Oh my
and
God.
I wouldn't have known the
This is
difference.
nightmare fuel, Jenny.
It is terrifying. I know. The food looked disgusting and it easily could have just been bees.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and perhaps, it's flying around in his esophagus and stinging him while inside. So he's literally choking on the very thing that can cause him an allergy. That is
Yeah.
a special kind of hell.
Well, Jenny, what's most ironic about this whole thing was that, okay, Gus apparently lost his armband at some point, or he
Yeah.
misplaced it, and he came
Flew
out.
away.
It flew away. And so maybe the bees took it. And
Oh,
so
those
he
freaking bees.
mislaid his armband, is what we're told.
Yes. He put it down at some point and he thinks that it blew away while
Okay.
they were at the port.
All right. And so Remy, Remy, time to pay the man. Does he think that Remy has any time to pay the man merch out there?
I hope by this point that's like this is this man's catchphrase. Like this, to the point where, Remy says to Gus, "You know what's going to happen." And like Gus says,
How to pay the
"I'm going to have to
man.
pay the man." Like they know.
Mm-hmm.
This has definitely been said more times than we've seen on air, for
Yeah.
sure.
Do you think that Remy should make like more of a spectacle of it? Do you think that he should come out with like the little like book of the check of like if when you go to a restaurant, and then he should like put it on the table in front of them, and then opens it up and it's a bill, and it's time to pay the man. It's like, will that be cash or charge, sir?
So you're saying that like he has his own like voucher at like restaurants where it's like
No, with the
you have to
recruits,
pay
like,
him?
no,
Oh,
I think
okay.
yeah, he should make it more of like, be a little bit more
Oh,
theatrical with it. I mean, this is TV,
okay.
Jenny.
He gives them a bill, like, and
Yes,
he's like,
yes,
"Now I am the man, and you are going
yes,
to pay the man,
yes.
and you choose your form of payment." Well, I don't think that he would give them the choice of form of payment.
Okay.
He's
What
he's
about
deciding that always.
okay? How about this? Okay, what about
Okay.
like they have like sort of like a little mailbox slot, and then he like they get an envelope and they open it up and it's like invoice. Oh, we owe Remy.
Yeah,
Time
it's
to
like
pay the
going to the
man.
diary room and you get like the
Mm-hmm.
envelope and you find out like what's going on and you're like, "Oh man, I have to pay the man."
Yeah. Or maybe
I
like
have
do
to
they get
pay
a
the man
phone
25
and they're like,
burpees.
oh, notification. Oh, Venmo request from Remy. Time to pay the man 400 burpees
I
and
really
sand in the
wonder
face.
Hope you don't choke on a bee.
Mhm.
I wonder how much he uses this in his everyday life. He could get himself paid so often, he's
Mhm.
just dropping, you got to pay the man, and he's the man.
You
So
got to pay the man. Okay.
yeah, I have to believe he's got a t-shirt at this point. He's a star. I will say, I
Somebody
think that
told us that they saw him on like a different show.
like, oh yeah, he was in a movie or something like that, wasn't he?
Mhm.
Or was it
Yeah.
a show? Um, I also
Look at his
I think that at
IMDb.
some point we power rank the Marine Corps for
Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
because
Well, let's
like
do it right now.
who you'd want to hang out with the most. Do you
So
want
let's
to
see. Is he yeah, here he is. He's Remy Adalik,
Adeleke
96,000.
maybe? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But he is at Kijo Wear founder. So he does have merch that
Of
is
course he
pay the
does,
man merch.
Rob.
Yes, it's time to pay the man. Okay, duh.
Really? Okay, I need to see that. Where did you find this?
It's Instagram. Okay. He's a
Oh,
filmmaker. He's a WGA writer.
okay.
He is Bronx raised, Nigerian born, former Navy SEAL. So he's like a big a big deal.
He is. Okay, wow, he's got a whole website.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him.
This is
Like
just a thing he does.
he's got seasons of clothing like on his website on Kijo Wear.
Yeah, and he's got a book.
Season. Oh my god. I saw him on this was early in the season. I think like right after the first episode maybe. And he did like a podcast with Dr. Drew, and like Kate Gosselin was there. He was on there, and then I believe
Mhm.
Montel Jordan. They like the
Oh,
four of them
remember
were like on a
Montel
podcast.
Jordan?
Yeah, I know. They yada yada him too. What is with this? But yeah, like I found this podcast on YouTube or something. I think it was Dr. Drew's podcast, and
Yeah.
Remy was there, and he's like that, and that is why, well, part of the reason why I feel like if we're power ranking like which of these, because I don't want to be around them in this context
Say
ever.
B.
I
Yeah.
do not want them to make me do anything.
No.
Like I am a weak baby. I'm maybe not like, get hypothermia from falling in a puddle weak, but
Right there.
like
One
I
step up from
am,
that.
yeah, like maybe one step up. Um I wouldn't want to do any of that. But like I do think about like, which of these people would I want to hang out with?
Yeah.
And I think Remy's actually at the top for me.
Mhm. Yes, I think so. He would be the best hang, I think, of
He's fun. He's got
actually
yeah.
I think it's between him and Rudy.
Oh,
I think
really? Rudy's pretty bottom for me actually. I
really,
think I okay.
and
So
Foxy would be okay. I mean,
Foxy is second for me, I
Billy
think.
would be
I
the
think
worst hang, but he's I think number one in the power rankings.
100%. He is the head bitch in charge.
Hmm.
He's the head Billy in charge. Like I am terrified of this man. And he just is so commanding. So he's definitely like top power ranking. Absolutely. But he's gonna call me a Muppet. Like he's going to
Hmm.
berate me like at some point, and I
For
just the
sure.
vibes are not really,
Yeah.
that doesn't align with me. Whereas I think like Remy would be like a good time. He'll laugh, he'll make some jokes. And I think that he does have like a soft sensitive side. Like I've seen him like, you know, kind of show a little bit of like softness towards some of these people.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that here with Gus, because
Yeah.
what I was getting to was it started off where, okay, he mislaid his armband, and Remy is trying to, okay, you got to pay the man, and then he's going to like try to make him learn his lesson. And you compromise your whole team. You didn't keep track of your possessions, and you need that armband because without it, we need that armband we need to tell mommy that you indeed died. And then came very
And
close, right?
Yeah, there was like some weird like connecting thread here with that statement of you lost your armband. Without it, we will not be able to identify you to mommy when you die. Then
Yeah.
he literally gets like goes into anaphylactic
Put like a
shock.
curse on him.
I know, it is wild. And then they take him away. And then we will get to this in more detail, but the way that they follow up with one of your own being taken away in an ambulance, no real explanation
Mhm.
of what happened to him and whether he's okay. Uh, now we are going to come to terms with your potential mortality.
Mortality, right,
Like,
right.
it
You don't
was
think
like
they
a really weird
they
theme.
poisoned Gus to, like, set this up, do you?
Oh, you think that
No, I don't
this
think
was
so.
fixed? That'd be
That
really
please,
messed
get out of
up.
here with that conspiracy theory,
They're
people.
like, in the
No
special
way.
forces, you have to prepare for potentially swallowing a bee. And
Mhm. Yes, to be part of the
this is a
lesson plan.
test. We
Yeah.
set this up for you.
But Jenny, so that there was such an interesting moment where, okay, you put the sand on your face, do the burpees, get wet, lay in the sand. Okay. And now you have to stay like that for an hour. And then
Hour.
Remy
Mhm.
says, so do you think that's fair?
Which
And Gus, I was like, Gus, don't fall for it.
I
Gus,
know,
just
it's
say
a
yes,
clear trap.
staff.
You
This is
almost
a
doubled
trap.
that.
This is a trap. But Gus speaks his mind. He's done that in the past. He said,
Mhm.
you know what? Honestly, I think it's a bit much.
But
Yeah, it's like, but it's late in the game. Okay, so I guess I
he's like,
understand
"I
it,
should
but
know better, like, this isn't the
mhm.
first, this isn't news,
Mhm.
and you have to make it," he's like, "Make an example of me, I understand." And that was music to our Remy's ears,
Yeah.
and he said, "You know what? Because you understand, I'm gonna drop it down to 30 minutes.
Might have
You
saved
just
his
have to
life.
sit this way through."
Might have saved
Honestly,
his life. I mean,
what happens if he if he had to, sit out there for thank God people were
mhm.
around. Like,
Yeah.
how long was he
Yeah.
coughing and spitting up before
I don't know.
even
Everybody
Carly came
heard.
outside?
And so wow. And then basically we saw like the whole medical procedure. They had to give him the shot of adrenaline, and we got to see the whole thing with the medics. And so, boy, a harrowing ordeal
Yeah.
here in episode 8.
I did call this, I think, last week. I think I did
Yes,
predict that it was Gus that,
you did. You did. I thought it
yeah.
might be Mike Piazza. I thought there was a chance, but
And I
looked like
also
the person.
predicted Mike Piazza not making it through like a few episodes ago. So
Mhm.
I'm done with my predictions at this point, by the way, but
Please.
I'm not looking to curse anyone here. I'm just like
Yeah.
I have to make some sort of assessments. But yeah, like Mike lasted the night, he slept and then was like immediately out of there.
Yeah. Jenny, before we talk about Mike Piazza, let's just we didn't know anything about Gus Kenworthy, but
Going into
8
this.
episodes
Yeah.
ago, 8 hours
Mhm.
ago, we didn't know Gus Kenworthy from a bee on the wall. But
Mhm.
now here he is, and I have to say, one of my favorite people from the show.
Yeah, I'm a fan. He was really fun. He was like he had edge to him. Like I could tell, he was trying to have fun out there, which drove the DS insane, which was also entertaining. Like, you know, I love people that put out really fun, positive energy.
Mhm.
And like being
Same.
around someone like that is such a morale booster. So I have to imagine that like his fellow comrades really enjoyed him. And like I would love to I think he has like, competitive like he's got such a competitive spirit that like I would love to see him in another type of competitive environment that isn't
Challenge USA,
sure.
Traders. Where do you want him?
All of them. I think that he would be great on Traders. I think put him in the Celebrity Big Brother house if we ever do that again. I think
Okay.
that he would be giving good DRs. I
He
think
knows the
that
mooch.
he would love to scheme with people. I just want more fun people that are going to like, you know, fully embrace what they're doing and try to make it fun for themselves and everyone around them. He was not a
Mm-hmm.
stick in the mud. He was doing the worst shit ever and was still finding a way to laugh and to make jokes and you know, even so he killed the task with the helicopters, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But like and like I think it was Foxy was like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna, jump out of the helicopter and do a backflip." He's like, oh, "I've learned my
No,
lesson."
I
You
don't
could
do that
tell he
anymore. So he
wanted
had a
to.
growth
He's like,
narrative.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
he is." Yeah, no, I literally knew nothing about this man. I don't know much about Olympians at all. But I'm a big fan of Gus, and it really was sad to see him, be medically withdrawn, or
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know what the
Yeah.
term is
VW.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Medically withdrawn. Yeah.
or
MW.
IVW'd, I guess.
Oh my God.
But I would love to see him if we're gonna be bringing back people for some of these other shows. Listen, we had Ryan Lochte in the Celebrity Big Brother house
And
and the
traders.
Traders.
Yeah.
So I let's keep it going for Gus Kenworthy. I think that
Yes.
he deserves at least one other show that isn't quite as punishing as this one.
And release the 80 for Brady kiss footage, you cowards.
Yes. Yes. Get
Let's
on it.
talk let's talk about Mike Piazza, who, as you mentioned, has also retired, aka VW, from the competition. He had a rough episode last one. I do think that they do try to keep like each episode is a day. So Mike Piazza, when he retires first thing in the morning, and it happens at the start of the next episode, I think that that's been the case, right? Every single episode is like basically like
Yeah.
from sun up to sundown on a certain day.
I think the one exception was when they ended the episode where we had the cliffhanger of
The
whether
first
Danny
two
was going to
hours.
quit.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that's
Oh, and
true.
that too. There was the
Yes.
one episode where like we had a bit of continuation than of the previous night because we had to figure out if Danny actually left or not.
Hmm.
But in most cases, we're starting each episode as like the next day. There's 10 days. I think we'll end up with 10 episodes. So that seems to be the format here.
All right. So Mike Piazza wakes up during the night. He's not doing well. He got hit in the face in the last episode.
So
Was that from
I
the
think
the punching or from when he fell on his face?
I honestly think, oh, that's a good point. Because did the punching happen first or did they get gas
I feel like he
first?
got like punched in the stomach really hard by
He got,
Gus.
yeah, he got like a kidney shot, which looked really painful.
Hmm.
Because he fell in the gas, like
He went down
whatever.
like a wet pile of you know what in the rain.
Yes, he did. Um, Common saying.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like, did he fall and hit his face on like the metal floor of the shipping container, and that was how he banged up his face? But you're right. They literally fist fought. So
Hmm.
he might have just gotten like rocked in the face by Danny.
Okay.
Hard to say. Or wait, no,
All
Danny,
right.
it was Gus that he fought.
Mike Piazza, he could have played for another couple of years, but he didn't want to hang on and be 60 to 70% of what he was. I don't know. I think you can go back and check Mike Piazza's stats with like the San Diego Padres. You can maybe argue Mike Piazza maybe did stick around too long.
Well, that's why he talks so much about, like not wanting to be the guy at the disco and the lights turn on, because you can tell that he feels like that maybe that happened with
Hmm.
baseball. Or he's just like he doesn't want to be the one hanging on.
Yeah.
He's
Mike
maybe
Piazza,
like a little bit in denial about it, but like deep down he knows that's like something that he could do.
he retired in 2007. He played 83 games with the Oakland A's in 2007. And looking at
When did he leave the Mets?
his last year with the Mets was 2005.
Okay.
And then he did 1 year with the Padres, and then 1 year as a DH with the Oakland A's.
I mean, he left the Mets and his heart just wasn't in it anymore. That's
Hmm.
probably it, right?
Yeah, maybe. Um, Let me see. His. So I'm on Baseball Reference. I'm not Chester here. It's very hard to figure out. Like they have all these advanced stats. I'm just looking for like the basic stuff. But anyway, I probably wasn't pretty if I had to guess. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
too bad. I mean, yeah, he clearly
Eight
has
home
done this
runs in
because
2007.
he probably
44
wants to
RBIs.
keep going, right? Like that. This is definitely he doesn't want to leave his team
Yeah.
behind,
He
but
hit 275. It's not
bad.
nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So all right. Good
nothing
for
to
Mike
sneeze
Piazza.
at.
Yeah.
But I really truly loved that he has, baseball and sport terminology like so ingrained in him that like when he goes to Billy to tell him that he's going to leave, he says, "Sir, I am going to retire." And Billy's
Okay.
like, "You mean VW?"
Right. And Billy like sort of gets him a pat on the back. This show is not
Yeah.
about like big, long, emotional goodbyes.
No. Like this is probably the nicest thing you're ever going to get out of Billy. Like Billy basically validates Mike's decision by saying you were
Mhm.
running on reserve and you still smashed it. And he
Mhm.
says, "I believe this is the end of the road for you." So he's
Yeah.
like
Okay.
he's like, "You might die if you continue today."
All
So
right, so a farewell, no curtain call for Mike Piazza, who has
no.
left the show. Little bit of a look back at Mike Piazza on the show. This was hard for me, Jenny. I talked about this last
Mhm.
week. I took
Yeah.
no pleasure in this. Mike Piazza, one of my, I would say childhood, but like icons
Adolescent.
of
Yeah.
no,
Of
not
your
even. I think I
younger.
was.
Yeah, I guess
I
not.
think I was.
Your
I think I was
young
20 when Mike Piazza got traded to the Mets.
early
But
days.
of a happier time for sure. That I was, like this was like the biggest superstar that ever found their way onto one of my teams. I will forever appreciate my Piazza, but I'll prefer to forget about this.
Yeah, this well I mean, as we heard last week, I think it was maybe Remy who said like, "Oh, like your kids didn't get to see you play pro ball, but they'll get to see you do this."
No,
Whereas like you
don't show
were
it to them.
you were saying just show them the old baseball games. Like show them the greatest hits. We don't need to show Mike Piazza
Hmm.
getting like beaten down methodically over the course of 7 and a bit episodes
Hmm.
of a
Yeah.
TV show.
Right. Okay. So let's go back to all right. Then so after my Piazza left, then there were five. Hannah is the
Mhm.
duty recruit. Billy calls her out and asks how they're doing, and she's like, "Oh, we're on the reserve tank, sir." And he's like, "Reserve tank? You've slept more than a dead man."
Which is just simply impossible. I mean, unless the dead man has only been dead for like a few minutes.
Hmm.
Also,
Hmm.
how does he know how much they're sleeping? They could be in there and completely wide awake. Is
I
he
don't know.
watching them?
But
Is he
Jenny, I feel like
Santa
that they
Claus?
were having a moment. I feel like that was a little bit of like, she's like, "Yeah, you're right.
Well,
Okay."
I think the thing is that, like, Hannah is a very good
Classic
sport,
Billy.
and I
Yeah.
think that, like, they clearly know that. They know now that they can kind of, they can kind of razz her, and she takes it pretty well, but she
Mhm.
also has this, like, innocence about her where she kinda just, like, nervously laughs when so I think that they, like, especially like effing with her, so, I don't know, Hannah's been really fun, like,
Yeah.
she's got such a good attitude, so,
Yeah. So she
um,
goes in and tries to
yeah.
like boost the morale. And Dwight Howard asks a question. He wants to know, would you rather go to jail for 10 days or do this again? Jenny, let me ask you a similar question. Would you
Yeah.
rather go to jail for 10 days or do another season of Special Forces World Toughest Test?
Now are you asking whether I'd rather go to jail or podcast about this show, like a second season of this
Let's take the
show, or
podcast aside because we have fun when we get
okay.
together. Okay. You're just going to
You're
watch it
saying
as a
do it.
fan. Yeah. No, just
Oh,
watch
just
it.
watch.
Just watch it.
So you're making me watch it, but you're taking the joy of podcasting with you out of
Yeah,
the
but it's not like one of like the really bad jails where you have to fight people and
because I
stuff
was
like
gonna
that.
say I need to know some more details, like, what kind of jail is it? What are they telling inmates that I've done? Do they
Yeah.
tell, like, you know what I mean? Like, am I gonna get beat up?
No, I don't think
10 days
so.
is not long enough, I think, to like really, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm not looking to go to jail for 10 days, but I think I could
Yeah.
probably handle it.
Personally, I think I would do great in like a minimum security jail. Like not the one where you get beat up and like stuff
No.
like this, gangs and stuff like that. But if it's just like, okay, do what you're told, stay in your cell, go, you have
Yeah.
this time in the yard. Okay.
I love a good structured day,
Yeah. Like, oh, I don't
And
have to answer email. Fine.
you don't mind like bland food. So I feel like,
Yeah.
like you could survive. You're not that fixated on what your meals look like. I would hope that it
Mhm.
would look better than the bean and bee salad that they were served.
Mhm.
Um, I have to believe prison food is better than that, right? It's
Mhm.
gotta be.
Depends. I was watching a show on Netflix and they were like in the kitchen in jail and I just saw them like a guy was like working like a big like mixer full of like mashed potatoes. So like yeah, I wonder what goes on over there.
I love mashed potatoes.
I don't know if they were real like
Is there
yeah.
gravy?
Yeah, is there gravy?
If
So
there's
many
gravy, I'm
questions.
in. I'm
Yeah.
in if they're serving me mashed potatoes
What
every
about
single
instead of special forces, what if we took 16 celebrities and put them in jail?
day.
Would you watch
Is that
that?
not already a show? I feel like that they had to have done this.
No. I don't think so.
I think that well, here's the thing. You
I
can't
mean,
do
you're
this
thinking of Big Brother,
again.
Jenny.
Right, of course. Sorry, I mixed those two up. They're very
Mhm.
similar. Um, yeah, I think that you can't do this show again because who the hell is going to sign up to do this? Especially now that you know like the different stages of like how things escalate. Like
Yeah.
if you agree to go into this, you're like, well, I'm definitely quitting before the chemical warfare. Like
Right, but
that's
just
coming
get these
episode
the
7.
same guys. It's like Billy is like the warden and like
Yes.
Remy is like one of the guards. Like, you
Yeah.
gotta pay the man
You gotta
now.
pay the
That's
man
it.
if you
You
want
going in the
yard
hole.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would
So
watch I
I think
I would
so.
watch that to podcast with you. That's
Yes.
about it though. But I think that that's if you wanted to take like these people and this concept and do it again with other people, you can't do it exactly like this. You just
Good.
can't.
That's the next season if we do
Yeah.
another season.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, all right. This is our big challenge for the day, Jenny. The helicopter extraction.
Mhm. And this is clearly Foxy's thing. He's like they always have like one of them kind of like leading the challenge. And we did not see Foxy like at all last week, I'm pretty sure. Foxy's back. He tells us about the type of helicopter. Did you say it's a Black Hawk? That's a
I think so.
helicopter,
Black
right?
Hawk. Yeah,
It
like
sounds like he's
Black
saying
Hawk
Black
Down.
Hog, which I
No,
think is a
Black
terrible
Hawk
name
Down,
for.
like the movie.
Yeah,
The
right.
Josh
Exactly.
Hartnett.
I think that's actually like one of the few movies I've seen like this was in the
Mhm.
era, was that like 2004, 2003
Yeah.
maybe? This is back when I would go to movies because I was in high school and like I would go to
Yeah.
the movies with people. I'm pretty sure. I will never watch a war movie now ever in my life. I
Not
hate
my
the sound of
thing.
guns.
Right.
And just any sort of like violence. But I did watch this. I remember that because I
Yeah, I
remember
used to
Josh
own the website joshhart.net.
Did you sell that?
I think I just let it lapse. I thought maybe somebody would like want to buy it
Are
from
you
me, but
holding on to any of these old websites? No?
no.
Yeah.
No. Sometimes I'm like,
JoshHart.net.
oh, I think like I used to think like, oh, if you get a good domain name, then people will then want to buy it
I knew
from
this
you.
about you. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
You an entrepreneur from the start.
Yes. Yes. That we had some other decent ones along the way, but ultimately didn't nothing came to be. All right. Well, I digress. So, all right, helicopter extraction. DS Remy will perform how to do this. Do you ever wonder if the other guys could do it?
Yeah, because like, do you think that he's just like the youngest and most fit?
Yes, definitely.
So they like have him, be
Like they never like,
the
hey Foxy, you want to take this one? Like, no. DS Remy, he's got it.
No, Foxy has one job, and it is close talking to the camera and confessionals and talking about mental toughness. Yeah, no. And Remy, like, they just love, like, this is the wildest, most physically fit man you'll probably encounter in your entire life. So just follow what he does here. Like, you can clearly replicate this guy, like, making quick work of the rope up to the helicopter. Like, and I will say, even like, it looked hard to me when Remy was doing it.
Yes.
So I was like, and I know how badass this guy is. So I'm like, this is not gonna be good. This is not gonna be good.
Jenny, I feel like that staff also has like a very specific batting order that they always go with. Like Danny Amendola never leads off.
Right. Yeah.
It's always like, all right, up first, the mooch.
Yeah, they seem to get people that they think are going to struggle to go first, which I think is twisted. And this is something I've been taking issue with for several episodes of this show, where in some of these tasks you do get an advantage by watching other people go first. And also in this particular task, between people, I feel like I can't remember if it was, Remy would like pop in and like give them tips or something. He'd be like, okay, so like, you gotta get up there fast because you're gonna use all your energy. Like, I felt like he was giving new tips to people after each person went. So it's like, you're literally getting an advantage by just watching what people do, how, like, what mistakes they make, and like learning how you should do it better, and also literally getting tips from people. So it's like, you're sending poor Hannah Brown out first to do this when she has seen Remy do it. That's it. And she hasn't gotten all of the extra information from people to be like, okay, well, don't do this when you get here. Like, it seems unfair. Like, let the person that is probably gonna crush it go first.
Yeah, but that's not how we're going to do things. So Hannah Brown goes, okay. And she has to, if you didn't watch the episode, you had to jump out of a moving boat towards a buoy as a Black Hawk helicopter flies towards you. And the Black Hawk helicopter will drop down a rope like you would climb in gym class. And you must climb the wet rope into the Black Hawk helicopter so that you could be extracted. And
you like, did they have gear on? They didn't have like a full backpack, but it looked like they were like
took their
heavy.
backpack off, I think. Yeah,
but like,
they weren't in bathing suits, like they were in their normal.
No, they were like in
clothes.
full gear. Yeah. Maybe without the Bergen, but the other thing was, like, the helicopter, as it approaches, is like whipping the water around at the bottom.
Like it's hovering.
Yeah. So it's not just like, oh, there's just a stationary helicopter.
Do it in a wind tunnel also.
Yeah.
Okay. So Hannah Brown, she gets from the buoy to the rope. My favorite part of all of this was that Billy is just up in the helicopter, just like screaming his head off. Like the whole time, he's like, come on, do it, climb the rope now, do it, come on.
Yeah, this man has, the strongest vocal cords of them all. He might not have like the physical fitness that Remy has at this point, but like, he is the best yeller they've got on the team.
Best one, far and away. Hannah Brown, it is not happening.
No,
not close.
I mean, the rope is wet. They are soaking wet, and then there's like the pressure of the helicopters, like,
and you're also exhausted from the swimming.
Yeah, it's not, and you're also exhausted from the chemical warfare and
that happened yesterday.
Yeah, like all of the other things,
and you have no food. Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So then Carly Lloyd is up next. She does a little bit better.
She gets up a little further, and then they let her go again. So she got a fail, or they said that she failed. She fell in, and then they're like, oh, let's let her try again. And then she gets up a second time, makes it a little bit further, and ultimately falls in again. Like, how are they deciding like who could try again after falling? Because I feel
I
like
think if
that
you were up for it, you could try again.
if
I
they
think they
could
would give you a
tell that you
second
were
shot.
trying to get back up, yeah.
Yeah, if you weren't just given, they don't want to see you just like
Carly's
give
not a
up.
quitter.
Yeah. Okay. So that fail, and then as you go like swim back to shore, Remy's like, swim faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your problem?
Remy wants you to be doing everything with a quickness, you know? Like
Do it
he's like,
faster.
run, swim faster. Like you are never going fast enough for this man.
No.
Guaranteed.
Okay. Danny Amendola. He's feeling like my shoulder's a little effed up from fighting Dwight Howard. I don't know. No problem.
Yeah. Like he basically says that like he can shut down like pain. Like his pain tolerance
Compartmentalize.
just
Yeah.
becomes like not an issue if he's like in the zone. Um and clearly that's what he had to do. But he mentions, and again, this is where like you get information from like the person that it's not like they didn't get to watch and like talk to people after they did it. He basically comes back and says like, use your lower body to help you, because like
Mm-hmm.
if I was relying solely on my upper body, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like use your feet to like
Yeah.
launch yourself up. A helpful tip.
Billy compliments Danny Amendola. I feel like that Danny Amendola is clearly Billy's favorite. He gets in the
Oh yeah.
Billy's like, good man, you did it.
Yes.
Billy was so pumped up.
Yeah, he let out a few expletives. We got some bleeps. So I think he said effing good man, I believe is what he said.
He did
And
it.
good effort, effing good effort.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you know Billy is really chuffed to bits, you know? Like
For
he's
sure.
yeah. And I think that like Billy and Danny have had like a very interesting arc where like, they were in each other's faces. And I think that this is the thing is like Billy picks on Danny the most because he loves him the most. It's like he's
Mm-hmm.
his son, you know? And I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's kind of the relationship that they've grown here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a beautiful story.
Very nice story.
Yeah.
So then we get to Dwight Howard. And Dwight Howard, he's nervous to be in the ocean, but I feel like that this is the first that we've heard about this because I feel like they've been in the ocean a couple times before. And I don't feel like that we've seen
Yeah.
Dwight Howard mention this.
I think more of the ocean stuff was like earlier on in the season, and I think that they had so many other
Too many
people
other
that were
people.
like, like crapping their pants that
Mm-hmm.
they didn't need to focus on Dwight's fear of the ocean because they were focusing on all of the other people that were eventually going to quit. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he said that like when he found out that he was gonna do this, that was his like first thought was
Mm-hmm.
having to be in the ocean, which I don't even think that that's what I would think about. Like I wouldn't think, well, I'm gonna be in the ocean.
It's not being a Navy SEAL, but
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? So, all
Yeah.
right, so Dwight Howard, that apparently he let go of the rope too early, so he had to do a lot of swimming from the buoy to the rope. And he goes to the rope, and for Dwight Howard, like I think a big part of this is Dwight Howard is like 6'10", and then like the Danny Amendola and Gus, like they're strong guys, they're athletes. But I don't think that neither of those guys I don't think is 6 feet.
Yeah, I want to say that they're like close to 6 feet, but maybe not quite there.
Yeah, Danny Emdell's 5'11".
Okay.
So but these guys are like sort of like more like compact.
Yeah,
And
center of gravity,
lower center of gravity, but like for Dwight Howard to climb the rope, this was like a very no pun intended, a tall order.
See, and I always loved like dissecting where the height difference can be, a hindrance or perhaps a benefit. And I thought like, okay, well if he has like longer limbs, like can he reach a higher rope like quicker?
Mhm.
Than somebody like, because we heard from Hannah that like the first knot was already too tall for her or something, like that was why she couldn't really get herself up. But like
Mhm.
for Dwight, do you think like because he's tall, like he can reach up and get like more leverage first? And do you think that,
I just think he's
or do you
also
think that the
like
fact that there's just so much more of him that like pulling himself up vertically is like
Yeah,
impossible.
it's harder. He needs more calories. It's probably like closer to 300 pounds.
Right.
Gus
And they
Kenworthy, he's 5'10" also.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, that is like a significant difference. And I think that you're right that probably being like a more compact, especially if you have like a lot of like
Mhm.
upper body strength with which I think
I
that
mean, yeah,
both of
I
them
mean,
do.
Dwight Howard probably outweighs both those guys by almost 100 pounds.
Yeah. And I think, maybe Dwight like is more of like a cardio guy than like a strength guy. Whereas,
Mhm.
that the cardio can only help you so much, I think, in this situation. Like how you would need to I would die. I would not be able to do this. I would not
Mhm.
be able to do this um with a dry rope laying on a floor with no helicopter. Like there's no
Yeah.
effing way. I would
Well,
not be.
it went bad for Dwight because they
Yeah,
had to
poor
send the
Dwight.
divers in.
Yeah, so he went under, so he fell. It looked like he might make it up for a second because I think he got like
And then it looked like he might not make it up out of the water.
yes. So he goes into the water and then all of a sudden Billy, and it's nice to see Billy yell at somebody else for once. Because Billy starts yelling like he's what did he was saying something like he's in trouble, he's or something like that. I don't know. He was yelling that like Dwight was in trouble and he's like get into the water
Mhm.
to the
Safety team.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
he yells at everyone.
Yeah. And so Dwight Howard ends up coming up. Luckily, Dwight Howard is okay, but
He's
he's going to
fine.
be on the radar of staff after this.
Yes, because again, when he's trying to return to the rest of the group after potentially almost drowning, I mean, he was underwater, for long enough that they sent the safety team in, maybe got some water in the lungs, maybe really gassed. Remy is still not pleased with the fact that he's not
Right.
running back fast enough. It's like
Not
this man
running.
almost drowned.
Did he? Are you alive? You should be running.
Yeah, I get
Pay the
that's
man.
probably a t-shirt of Remy's. It's like, "If you're
Hmm.
alive, you better be running."
Got it.
Like,
I'm going to
put
get
it on
one.
a shirt.
Yeah. Jenny, we had one last person to go, and that was Gus. We don't really spend a lot of time with Gus other than he nails it.
I
He
think he even did better than Danny. Like, he was up
mhm.
there real quick.
Yep. He got up there real quick, didn't do a stupid backflip out of the helicopter,
Out
nailed
of the
it.
helicopter.
Yeah. So this was a great final act on the show for Gus.
Yes, that's why I was saying it was especially hard to see him go because he did a great job in this task, and then when he has to pay the man, he
Hmm.
shows growth and understanding that like sometimes things aren't fair, but maybe he should know better, make an example of him, and then he just chokes and almost dies.
Hmm. Okay.
Terrible.
All right. Well, we talked about everything that was going on with Gus. I guess that there was one other thing that happened between that point and what we're talking about now. Staff was not happy with Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard
Yeah,
gets home, lays in the bed for a second, like get him in here. Get Dwight Howard in here right now. Okay.
yeah. He's
Dwight
just
Howard,
settled in.
come on in. Remy and Billy, they feel like he's regressed. Seems like you're not all there. You're not all in. Are you committed to the process? Do you have any issues with commitment?
And Dwight's like, I mean, I've maybe been in relationships, like girlfriends and stuff. I've been criticized about
That's
my level
not
of
what they were
commitment.
there to talk
They
about.
were not looking for that answer.
Yes, I mean, just according to Wikipedia, unrelated to nothing, uh, Dwight Howard has 5 children by 5 women.
So, I mean, he's clearly committed to his children.
Mm-hmm.
As we have seen. But yeah,
Yes.
he has had commitment issues in the past.
Mm-hmm.
He's very honest about that. He says, with
Yes.
women, I have been not so committed.
Yeah.
No lies
Well,
detected. But they don't want to talk about women, Rob. They
we're
want
not
to
here to
talk
talk
about
about this. Isn't guy talk.
No, we're talking about daddy now.
Yes. But while I'm here on the Dwight Howard personal life on Wikipedia,
Okay.
Dwight Howard won a defamation judgment against Royce Reed, mother of his oldest child. I guess she was on Basketball Wives and disparaged him on Twitter.
Oh.
And in addition to that, that Dwight Howard keeps approximately 20 snakes as pets and appeared twice in Animal Planet's reality TV series Tanked. Yes, I guess that's a snake show.
I would assume
Tanked
so,
was an
'cause
American
snakes
reality television
live in
series that aired on
tanks.
Animal Planet. The series followed the Las Vegas-based aquarium manufacturer Acrylic Tank Manufacturing. Also, he owns a farm in North Georgia where he relaxes with cows, hogs, turkeys, and deer.
I like that. Those 4 specific animals though, like these are his animals of choice that he likes to relax with.
Yes.
What were those deer?
Cows, hogs, turkeys,
Cows,
and deer.
hogs, turkeys, and
The
deer.
big 4.
I mean, I feel like the first 3 are very common to be like on a farm. The deer part is like a little random, I think. I don't know if I would see those like in the farm with the hogs.
Yes. He also competed in season 6 of The Masked Singer as Octopus.
Oh.
Not one
How
of the
did he
big
do?
4.
Did we
Yeah.
Week 4, okay.
Let's see. Season 6 of The Masked Singer. Spoilers for Masked Singer, season 4. That was the season Todrick Hall was the runner-up.
Oh boy.
Ultimately, he lost to Jewel, the winner. I mean, that seems a little unfair. And then also notables in that season were Catherine McPhee, Honey Boo Boo, Rob Schneider, and unfortunately,
where's Honey Boo Boo on this? Like, why?
Unfortunately, Larry the Cable Guy. Unfortunately, Dwight Howard, the octopus, was the first one out.
Oh no.
Yeah. Sad.
Wow. So he's no stranger to the reality television, I guess.
And the Fox network.
Yeah, he's only foxing around, I guess.
With Foxy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, we talked about the relationship with his dad.
Yeah, Remy goes, he's like, I'm gonna get real here. Tell me about your relationship with your dad. It's like,
okay,
who told this man he's a therapist? What are we doing here? And honestly, if he wants a job, he should go to MILF Manor and discuss the relationship. Tell me about the relationship with your mom.
Like, okay, yes.
Remy needs to interview some of these people if he really wants to get into like weird parental relationships and the damage it causes.
Yeah. For sure. Okay. All right. So, are Dwight Howard's parents judging him now?
I think that they are probably looking at this and being like, well done. I don't know. Yeah. But they're maybe not happy that he said on TV that he doesn't trust them and that he feels judged by them. Maybe they didn't love that too much.
Well, he grew up in a very Christian background.
Yeah.
So
he's around a lot of women. Right. They didn't like that.
They didn't like that. Maybe they didn't love The Masked Singer also.
That must have been it.
Okay. So they didn't like all the snakes. Of course, if you are, if you're a Christian background, I mean, who's like the number one antagonist in the Bible? A snake.
Yeah, that's symbolism there. So they probably didn't approve of that choice either. They're like, you're around all these women and all these snakes.
Yep, temptation.
The two worst things in the Bible.
that's right. Okay, so ultimately they say, we know there's more in you. Okay, so that's what's going on with Dwight Howard. All right, head up,
talk for him. He seems like he said he needed that. So
yeah. All right. So we end up with then after Gus is medically withdrawn. Now it's time for story time.
It's death letter time.
Yeah. So they
Gather
gathered
around,
everybody
kids.
around. And I don't know if they had something else planned that day, because I feel like that
Yeah,
every
because
other
they usually do like
episode,
another
you
physical thing,
right,
right?
usually it's two things.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they had like a different activity plan. I'm like, oh, let's just do the death letter thing. All right.
That's what I'm thinking because they're like, okay, they had a really scary thing happen with like one of their guys like went down and he got taken away in an ambulance. Now's the time to like,
Yeah,
psychologically and emotionally really get
it's
at
go
them and
time.
have them think about what if they were to die.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's address that.
So yeah, write your death letter, okay? Because now I don't want to make light of this. I because I really don't know. Like, do you do this before every mission? Do you have to write this? You write this letter?
I'm guessing, and I know nothing,
Yeah.
as usual, but I would my guess is that it's not something that is asked of you, and it maybe just becomes like a thing that people do
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know for sure, and they feel like they want to have something, if
Mm-hmm.
something were to go wrong, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's I don't necessarily know that they're like, okay, everyone get together and write your death letters as a group.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might just be like a culture thing that
Yeah.
people do.
All right. So everybody get together, write your letters. They call out Dwight Howard. They said, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "Hey, I'm only up to my fourth kid.
Yeah, he's
I got
writing
five
separate letters
kids.
for each one.
I got to write all the different letters." Okay. All right. So let them rip. And so everybody gets really into it,
Yeah.
you know?
Um, and everyone's crying while they're listening to other people's letters.
Hmm.
Um, they all seemed like I don't know, they seemed hesitant to like share their letters with each other. They acted like this was like the biggest challenge of all is being emotionally vulnerable in front of other people. Like that's what this like message seemed to be here because it's like every single one of these episodes it's like you have two challenges. You have like the first one that's like, "Oh, this seems
Hmm.
really challenging and bad." And then you have the second thing which is even worse.
Right.
And so I feel like they're trying to say like, "Oh, you thought trying to climb a rope into a helicopter was hard? Try being vulnerable." Like, that is the true ultimate, like, challenge of life.
Yeah, what's interesting about this is I feel like they've never done this before, like on Survivor. Of course, famously, people on Survivor they get letters from home, they get visits from home, but they've never had to actually like write a letter to the people at home that mean the most to you. The closest we ever got to this was in Survivor 38, the Edge of Extinction, when the survivors famously wrote letters to themselves.
Right. Yes.
And then this was a big part of Chris Underwood's growth story of that he read the letter he wrote to himself.
Yeah, I think that they should have written letters to themselves here too, because I
Hmm.
think that if they wanna give them the final push to keep them going, giving yourself a
Keep
pep talk.
going. Yeah.
I think that this would mess you up because you're like, "Oh my god, okay, um, this has been so hard, it apparently is only getting tougher, and I am depleted. My friend who was, like, one of the most tough people out here just got medically, like, evacuated and almost
Yeah.
died, like, 10 feet away.
Yeah.
Uh, let's think about maybe we die. Let's write a letter about it. Like, this is not gonna make me wanna keep going. I'm gonna be like, "Yes, I'm out."
It's almost like a different like exercise that because I feel like that in real life, okay, these are the real special forces people. They're going into a mission. They may not come out on the other side. Like this
Right.
is a great exercise that they could let the people back home know how their loved ones felt about them going into this battle. For this is almost like that, like realize how much you love the people back at home. Like these people, like knock on wood, are all going to come out on the other side of this. It's almost like that they need to like this is about teaching them to appreciate what they have at home.
Yeah, I feel like that there's definitely like an underlying emotional message with all of like the therapy sessions in that random interrogation room. It's like they're not really saying it, but like they're they're insinuating that like this whole process is going to make you a better person and appreciate what you have in like
Mhm.
in life and at home a lot more, even though they're not
Yeah.
really like blatantly saying it. Like I think that that's the message everyone is taking away from it, and they're like, you're probably writing this letter and being like, God, I'm so glad that this is not like a real thing that I'm having to do, which is like so dark. It's like you're like writing fake letters in case I die, and thinking like people have done this and then died. Like it's so
Mhm.
dark. So I understand why that is like a thing where they're like, okay, now we're really gonna mess with them, because like that would mess me up. I would not be like feeling bad for myself in that moment. I'd be like, oh my God, how many people have like, just kind of like feeling more connected to people who have actually done this and served, their country and not come home, and like what they had to write to their family. Like that'd be the part that would mess me up the most. Not even thinking about my own family. So like I feel
Well,
like that part is like really messed up, where they're just like, yeah, this could be you. It's like, oh my God.
yeah. Well, Jenny, this whole process has made me appreciate what we get to do here
Oh my
together
gosh.
week
Yes.
after week. There is only 2 hours left of Special Forces World's Toughest
Somehow.
Test. I think only 2 hours. It's 2 more
They did
nights.
not say anything. I think that it can't be more than 2, unless they do, like, a longer finale, but, like, they're gonna have,
Mhm.
like, 2 people left at that point. Or do
If
you
anybody
think
else leaves, could you imagine?
that the final 4, they're lasting, they got 2 more to go, right? Next
Mhm.
week looks terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
they've lost. Like, I'm gonna have a hard time watching next week.
What did you make out from, what you could see?
Okay, well, one thing is this is your introduction to not being able to breathe, which I thought they kind of already had an introduction into not being able to breathe when they gassed them. That might have
Mhm.
been an introduction in not being able to breathe, but apparently that wasn't. I don't know. We do get, someone is gonna get called a Muppet. I don't think anyone was called a Muppet this week, so thank God that's gonna be back.
Mhm.
It looks like the camp is going to be evacuated. And then it basically looks like
Like a
simulated
fire
war.
drill?
It looks like there are like fire strikes and shooting, and that like my blood pressure is already like shooting through the roof, and I am going to need a stiff drink while I watch this next week.
Oh my
Uh
god. Okay.
because I don't there's a reason why I don't watch things with guns and violence. I did not sign up for this. I did not know that this would be part of the deal.
Mhm. Okay.
So, like, I hope everyone, and I see Dwight falls at some point. That's all I got from the preview for next week.
All right. Well, Jenny, um, we're closer to the end of this journey than we were, at the beginning.
That
This
is
was
true.
I thought this was one of the most fun recaps that we've done.
I don't disagree. I have a good time. Like that's the thing, is like it's twisted. This show is twisted. Watching it is sometimes my world's toughest test, but
Mhm.
podcasting about it with you is like the best. It's something I look forward to every week, and I always have fun. And somehow we make something out of it. And I think we learn more about each other.
Mhm.
And I'm just grateful. Like you said, this I'm making me very, very grateful for the life I
Appreciation.
have.
Yeah.
Yes. And I
All right.
appreciate you, Rob. And I appreciate anyone who listens to this podcast, whether you're watching
So
the
much.
show
Thank
or
you.
not.
Yes.
Like the fact that anyone is listening to us do this is beyond me. And I'm so grateful to everyone who supports us and has like listened to all of our podcasts that we've done, because it's not always sunshine and daisies,
No
Sometimes you're
way.
writing death letters.
Yeah. All right. Jenny, what's coming up for you?
Just seeing this through, because you and I are not quitters, at least not this time. And some other little things coming out maybe in the next couple of weeks.
Mhm.
And I will follow me on Twitter at Jenny Autumn, and I will shout out what's going on with me. But other
Okay.
than that, looking forward to Survivor coming up. It's like what, 2 weeks away now. Um, Big Brother
Mhm.
Canada around the corner, so that there'll be lots more going on than just World's Toughest Test.
Mhm.
And I'm looking forward to that as well. But this has been a
Okay.
joy every week.
We are gonna have a lot more Survivor 44 previews to come. I have Issa Look coming up with Bryce Isaiah
Woo!
on Thursday. Talked about Tough as Nails as well, which is also coming to an end. Coming up next week, on Wednesday night. So be on the lookout for that. Plus everything else we have going on over on RHAPiswebsite.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.